and welcome to the Bottom Line Live. Tonight, we're going to be talking about financial reports, and I actually have this all set up to show you guys the reports and go through them. I'm just going to share this in the groups real quick, so bear with me a second. It's going to go into the Wealth Dynamics group, because that's where all the cool people are. Share to group, Wealth Dynamics. Here we go, the Bottom Line Live. Be great if I spelled it right. Okay, so now for you guys tonight, I actually have reports to show you. Are you guys super excited? So let's see, let me get this open. All right, so we're going to be going over financial reports, profit and loss, the balance sheet, a couple of other ones. It's going to be very exciting. So I'm going to share my screen so we can do that now. And if you have questions, feel free to write them in the comments and I will answer them for you as we go. So here we go. Sharing screen. You're going to see my computer with all of my way too many things open. And this is a sample company in QuickBooks. So that's what's great about this. So we'll be able to see. And then I guess what I'll do is I'll stop sharing and I'll check the comments, and that's how we're going to do this, because otherwise I'm going to be sharing my screen, looking at you guys, and it'll be very confusing. So I'm going to practice this real quick. So I'm going to go stop sharing, back to Facebook, check out if I have any questions or comments, and then we're going to go back to the company and start sharing again. And here we go. I got this figured out. I knew technology. Okay, perfect. So the first report that I wanted to go over with everyone is, and I've talked about it a few times, this is the profit and loss report, profit and loss statement. And again, this is a fake company in QuickBooks, so you don't have to worry about anybody's personal information or anything in case you're worried about that. You're probably not, but I get worried about that kind of stuff. This is a sample company in QuickBooks called Craig's Design and Landscaping Services. So Craig, thank you for showing us your books. Now, as you can see, it's called a profit and loss. It says that right here. You can change the name if you want, but don't confuse your CPA. And here is, let me see if I can make this bigger for you guys. There we go. But at the top, you see income. And they have their income broken down by different types of income. So this right here, so they've got their design income. Now discounts and refunds would go right here as a negative number. Now this is when we're talking about when you give your customer a refund, not when you receive a refund from, Amazon. That would go in a different spot. But this is if you give your customers refunds or discounts, they go up here. Now he has landscaping services, and then he has, as a sub account of that, he's got job materials, and then this is income from these job materials. So this is job materials income. And then he's got labor income. He's got, this isn't necessarily the way I would design my income, but this is just a sample company. So he's got pest control services, other random services, and then his total income. Now, Craig did not make a lot of money so far this year. Let's see if we can look at it for last year. He probably didn't make a lot of money last year either, because this is a sample company, but we're going to look at it. Yeah, see, last year he didn't make any money. They just updated it all to this year. So we're going to run it for this year. And this is what's great about QuickBooks, is that you can kind of just change the date range and stuff that you want to look at. So here we go. And the reason this looks different, so when I first opened it, it was on accrual. And we've talked about this before, but accrual is basically if you count as the money is earned or as it's spent and not when it comes out of your bank account. So all of his invoices, he has $9,800 of invoices, but that doesn't mean he's made that money. If you want to know what's in his actual bank account, he's only made $4,600. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, I'm going to check real quick on any questions. Let's see, pause, share. All right. Do we have any questions? It doesn't look like we have any questions yet. Look at all you live people. Please feel free to ask me questions. And thank you for joining me every week, every Thursday. All right, we're going to go back to resume share. Here we go. So the next thing that you're going to see on a profit and loss is going to be cost of goods. So now for a landscaping company, I imagine that would be material. So he's putting his cost of goods in here. And we have this on cash as well. So if we run it on accrual, which maybe I'm getting too complicated, so I'll pick one, but that would be any invoices that he has received. So maybe he's received more invoices than he's paid, right? We're going to go back to cash to keep it simple. So he has spent so far this year $228 of cost of goods. Now it shows you your gross profit, gross meaning total before other things are taken out, and then it's going to list your expenses. Now Craig's landscaping company doesn't have a lot of expenses that your company might, but this is a good, place to start. So you've got advertising, you've got automobile costs, you've got equipment rental, he's got job materials, which why he has those here and not cost of goods, I don't know, but it doesn't, in the end, it's all tax deductible. Then he's got his legal fees, accounting, bookkeeping, lawyer, maintenance, meals, other office expenses, rent or lease for his office, utilities, and then he's got other miscellaneous expenses. Now, never use this. I honestly, this sample company is also meant for bookkeepers to practice on. So this isn't like the prettiest set of books I've ever seen. Never ever use miscellaneous because it's not a real thing. It's not a deductible thing. And we can click in here and see what the heck his miscellaneous is. Basically, this is like stuff he needs to ask his CPA because he didn't know how to book it. So don't ever use miscellaneous unless you're just using it to ask your CPA. Now at the bottom, you can see here his net income after everything. So this shows a profit or a loss. And in this case, it shows a loss. He had a loss of almost $2,000 for the year so far. So that's no fun. But this is a really important report to look at. I look at mine for the, for the year to date, for the month to date, for the week. I look at it almost every day. And I know exactly whether I'm profitable or not. And if I'm not, I can do something about it. So this is a profit and loss. Okay, I'm going to pause sharing again and check in on everybody and answer all of your questions. I know this is our favorite subject. Okay. So now let's go to the next report. The next report is the balance sheet. This is a report that gets confusing to people. Even bookkeepers get confused sometimes by this report if they're not used to looking at it. Because the main report that you're always going to be looking at is your profit and loss. So the balance sheet is another report. The balance sheet shows balances. So here you have your balance in your checking account as of, the last time you reconciled it and all your transactions. This is assuming all of your transactions are up to date and entered. So you've got your balance in your checking account, your balance in your savings account. And then you've got this account called undeposited funds. Now, what that means is that money that you received that you haven't deposited in the bank account yet, right? So it's very self-explanatory. Undeposited funds, like you have checks in your hand that you're holding that aren't in the bank account yet, or maybe you ran credit cards and you haven't received that money yet because the credit card company, takes 2 or 3 days to get you the money. So those are undeposited funds. But it shows the balance, and undeposited funds are an asset because it's money that you're going to get. Now, what is an asset? An asset is something that you own, something that has value or potential value. So obviously money in a bank account is an asset. Money that's on the way to you is an asset. What else are they listing as an asset? Your truck. So you own it, it has value. This was the original cost of the truck. It's an asset. If you have a truck loan, it would be a liability. What's a liability? A liability is money that you owe or potentially will owe, basically. So that is what a liability is. So even though he has, let's see if they have it on here, the truck. So I guess he doesn't have a truck loan. He paid off his truck. So he owns the total truck. It's an asset. But he's got a credit card, and credit card is a liability because it's money that you owe. That's how much he owes on his credit card. This is money that he owes for basically some type of tax. It could be a payroll tax in this case. Board of Equalization, that's usually a sales tax. This is money that he owes for sales tax. This is a loan he took out. So now he owes money on this loan, and those are all liabilities. Now he's got, those are current liabilities. Now he's got long-term liabilities. So this is a longer loan. For instance, a lot of you took out EIDL loans. They were super low interest, large amount of money that you could get. So he took out a loan for $25,000. He makes a, $100 payment a month or whatever it is. Okay, your opening balance equity is not an account that should necessarily have this much money in it. But let's say you started doing bookkeeping on your company this year, and you've already had those bank accounts for years. So the balance in those bank accounts when you started doing bookkeeping was something, so that would go in there. You know what I mean? So it's an opening balance equity. What does it equal when you opened it? And then you've got your retained earnings, which is basically a number that shows past profit. So this is, you can't click on this, you can't do anything with it, only your CPA uses it for your taxes. It usually represents past years. And then you've got your net income. So this number, if you click on it, you'll see it takes you back to your profit and loss. And that's because that net income on your balance sheet is what is represented on your P&L. It's the same exact number. How do they come up to this? It's everything on your profit and loss. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys my face for a minute. So basically, those are your two main reports that I talk about all the time. And I wanted to give you guys some kind of math on this so you could really see it. People ask me questions about these all the time. So this is something that you're going to be able to look at it. You're going to be able to see what the difference is. What does it do? We're going to do another one. We're going to go into a few other reports where, we do pretty short webinars. So it's only a half hour long. So I'm going to go into a couple of more types of reports, and that's kind of all we're going to do. And if you guys have questions, feel free to reach out. But these are the reports that your CPA has been asking for. So keep that in mind. When your CPA is asking for your profit and loss, they're asking for your balance sheet, they're asking for your financials. This is what they are asking for. Okay, let us move on to the next report. All right. I like this pause share, resume share. This is great. All right, so here is your next report. Now, I do want you guys to see this. Look how many reports you can pull. You can pull almost every report that you want, but you aren't going to mostly be looking at all of these. Sometimes your CPA will, sometimes your bookkeeper will, sometimes you will want to look at these, but I'm just going to go over the main ones. So here's the next report that we want to look at. This is called your accounts receivable aging summary. Now, you can do it in detail or you can do it in summary. We're going to run it in summary. Now, accounts receivable means the money that is owed to you. So every time you send out an invoice for someone and they, agree that they owe you that money, that becomes an accounts receivable. It's an account that's receivable to you, right? So this is going to be a list of every single client and how much money they owe you and how old it is. So you can see here, Craig doesn't really have a lot of old invoices, which is great. He's got one that's 61 to 90 days, and the rest are pretty current. 1 to 30 days, 30 to 60 days, you want to get those collected. But this is how you have the data. Now this is a summary, so I can click into any of these and get more information. I can click into here and get the exact invoice, right? And if there was more than one invoice, let me see if there's any that have more than one. Here's one that has 2 invoices. So it'll give me this little summary of both of them, and I can click into each of them. And that's what's really great, what I like about QuickBooks. You can just click into things and see them, and it becomes very simple. So I want to make these reports super simple. Accounts receivable, money that is owed to you. So as long as all your invoices are correct and you marked which ones are paid and which ones aren't, this report will be very accurate and show you everything you need to know. All right, now let's go to the next one that I wanted to show you guys, which is the accounts payable aging summary. Now this is accounts payable. So this means what you owe, what is payable by you. So every bill that you enter into QuickBooks is going to show up on here. And again, you can run this as a detail or a summary. I'm running it as a summary so you can see it by 30, 60, 90 days and over. So again, Craig has nothing over 90 days, which is great. He's got one bill that looks like it's late, PG&E, which is like a utility bill some places in the country. So we can click on this and we can see this little summary, and we can actually click anywhere there and see the actual bill. So here's the actual bill, and it goes, you've got the category, you've got, he didn't enter a bill number, but you've got the bill date, the due date, when it's due, the address. In QuickBooks, you could pay it directly through here if you wanted to. But basically, this is what, let me do this. This is what your report is going to tell you. So when someone asks me how much money do I owe, or for a bill summary, I can give them this. I can also show you this in another view, which is the detail view, which is sometimes better to look at. So this is in date order, right? And it basically has by date what's owed. So you can see all the bills. So if you're trying to pay by date line, which I know a lot of you are, this is a great tool because this lists all of your invoices, all of your bills that you've received in order, by date order of the bill date. And then you can go, okay, good, I can pay everything up through here. So that is the other report that I wanted to show you guys. And I like looking at it this way. Same with the accounts receivable. You know, it's totally up to you how you want to look at it. But I showed you guys the summary. Let me show you the detail. So this is the accounts receivable detail. So this just lists every single invoice out, and it shows you the due date. So some of these are past due, some of these are due in the future, in the next few days. So that is 2 different ways of looking at that same report. Okay, so now you're going to get to see my face again. So basically, these 4 reports are the main reports that small businesses use. Larger businesses probably use a lot more reports. Your CPA is going to use a lot more reports, different things like that. But as a business owner, those are the reports that I would say you need to be the most familiar with. So if you're not familiar with those, I would say get familiar. There's lots of other reports you can look at, but those are the 4 main ones that I would say are the most important. There's one more report that you will sometimes see that I'll show you. I honestly don't see it get used all that much, but I'm going to show it to you anyways. So here we go. I'm going to back to resume screen share. Okay, so this report is called the Statement of Cash Flows. Now, when we send reports to our clients, we do send this one out. So the order you're going to see these is you're going to see the profit and loss, the balance sheet, and the statement of cash flow. The statement of cash flow shows you what you've done for this time period, whereas the balance sheet shows you everything up to a certain date, right? Like a lot of times we run into shareholder distribution or owner's draws on the balance sheet, it's going to show you everything that's been paid out to you from the beginning of time, unless your CPA is making adjustments in your reports, which sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. They can close it out to retained earnings, but a lot of times they don't make those entries in the books. So you're going to see that distributions for the beginning of time. And how are you going to know what was this year? You can either run a report to see what was this year, or you can look at your statement of cash flows. Now, this guy doesn't have any distributions, but if he did, it would be in here under equity, and you would be able to see exactly what was this year. But all of these do show what was this year, so, or in this time period. So you can click on net income and it'll show you where that number comes from. This is going to be based on an accrual version of your profit and loss. What we looked at before was a cash version. So this is showing you everything that you've invoiced, everything that you've entered as a bill. That's the net income of that. You can see your accounts receivable for the year, and you can click in and see it, you know, and see what it represents. So, but I honestly really mainly use this report to see the distributions, because in the end it shows you your cash at the end of the period. And this is something that you can use. This is something your CPA can use. So it is something interesting to look at, but it's mostly going to be used kind of for taxes at the end of the year, but it is very good to look at. Okay. And then, so these 3 reports are the ones that QuickBooks will kind of save at the top for everyone to look at. But there's all these other reports. You can literally see almost everything. And I'm kind of going to scroll through slowly and overwhelmingly, but you can see, like, you know, you're running sales by customer, transactions by tag list, like you can make tags. There's 1099 reports that are very useful, bill payment lists, like there's all different kinds of things, sales tax reports, payroll reports. These are the ones that your CPA is going to look at, more payroll stuff. So basically, I want you guys to know that almost anything that you want to find out about, you can find out in QuickBooks. But those were the main reports that I've been promising to show everyone. And so I've now shown everyone, and I'm going to probably use this as a class. So if anybody ever asks me to show them the reports again, I'm going to send them a link to this. But if you do have any questions, please feel free. You can email me, maya@solvencynow.com. You can go on my website, solvencynow.com. You can add a comment. You can message me on Facebook. I always get back to everybody. And I'm really here to help you guys. I'm here to help business owners. I want business owners to succeed. I want to keep this simple. Taxes are, you know, basically due. If you haven't filed your taxes, make sure you file an extension. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will see you here next week, Bottom Line Live, and we're going to go over the next exciting topic. Also, if you have topic ideas, feel free to send them to me, because I always want to know what you guys want to know about. I have a lot of things I can talk about, but what do you want to know about? Let me know. And thank you all for joining. If you're not joining live, if you're seeing this on YouTube, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys all soon. Thank you so much. Bye.